Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. This is Mr. Sal. If you like the video and if you find it helpful, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment below. And while you're commenting below, we'll go ahead and solve this problem for you. Let's go ahead and read it first. An airplane travels 480, that should be miles, sorry that's a little misprint, in 3 hours with the wind. The return trip against the wind takes 4 hours. What is the wind speed and the speed of the airplane in still air? In still air just means that if there was no wind, how fast would the airplane have been traveling? Now notice the trip with the wind and against the wind is the same distance. But the answers both for wind speed and speed of the airplane are rates, okay? So we can't just say it's 480 miles in 3 hours or 480 miles in 4 hours. We need to find the rate that the plane was traveling with the wind and against the wind. So how do we solve that? Well, this speed is always in miles per hour. If you're in a different country, it's probably in kilometers per hour. So we're just going to take the miles and divide it by the hours. So with the wind, we have miles divided by hours. We can see that it took 480 miles in 3 hours, which would give us a unit rate of 160 miles per 1 hour. Okay. On the other hand, against the wind, it was still 480 miles, just because it told us that. In some of the problems you guys may do, the distance may be different, but finding the speed is always the same process. Miles divided by hours. And that would give us 120 miles per 1 hour. Hopefully this makes sense at least a little bit, because if you're flying with the wind, you should be going a little bit faster, just as if you were to be running. And if you were to run against the wind, even if you're in an airplane, you should be going at least a little bit slower. So these two answers so far make a lot of sense. Now we need to make the equations for with the wind and against the wind, which we're going to do now. But first we need to define our two variables, x and y. So I'm going to say that x is the speed of the airplane and y is the speed of the wind. So with the wind, we should have an equation, x being the speed of the airplane, but since it's with the wind, we're going to add the speed of the wind in with the x. And how fast was the airplane going then? It was 160 miles per hour. Against the wind, so you have the speed of the plane, but against the wind, so subtract the speed of the wind, and that was 120 miles per hour. To solve this system, it shouldn't be too bad, because notice the coefficients of the y's are already 1s and they're opposites. So we can cancel those out. We'd have 2x equals, we'll add those two together, 280. And then dividing both of these by 2 tells us x, which is the speed of the plane, as 140 miles per hour. So we'll write that in. So I've just written that as mph, 140 miles per hour. And I didn't really have to box in the x, but I did. So the next thing we're going to do is use one of the equations to solve for y. I'm going to go ahead and use that top equation, x plus y equals 160, but once again, instead of x, I'm going to replace it with the 140 that I found. To solve for y, simply in this case, just subtract 140, and we find that y is 20 miles per hour. And hopefully this makes sense, right? If we split these two in half, that would be 140. And if we take off the wind speed, then we would subtract 140 to get 120. If we added the 20 miles per hour, we'd get 160. And these are our two answers right here.